In recent weeks, we've seen longtime friends and training partners Conor McGregor and Artem Lobov have a massive falling out. Artem felt like he deserved more compensation for Conor's whiskey business and ended up taking matters to court. Since then, Conor has very publicly stated his feelings of betrayal and anger. The American gangster and everyone's favorite heel, Chael Sonnen, weighed in on the whole saga recently. Firstly, what's going on between Conor and Artem? If you're a casual fan of the sport, you're probably asking, weren't they friends? So here's everything that's happened so far. Artem Lobov and Conor McGregor have been friends and training partners for a very long time. You probably remember when Khabib's team had an altercation with Lobov because it was the reason Conor threw dollies at Khabib's bus. Fast forward to now, McGregor started his whiskey brand Proper 12, and last year he sold a majority share of the business. That deal was worth $600 million. Artem sued Conor earlier this year and demanded that he give him 5% of the deal's earnings. Artem believes that he was a key part of the company ever being set up, as well as the fact that it was him who told Conor to go for whiskey instead of vodka. Conor had offered Artem $1 million for his share of the work, but Artem believed that he should be given much more. That's when the two entered a court battle, and their relationship has taken a complete 180 since. Conor has responded with his usual wit, taking to Twitter to make fun of and berate Lobov. He even made a chant singing, "Artem is a rat." So yeah, it's gotten pretty heated. Coming up, what has Conor been saying on Twitter? Okay, so things started off as they usually do with Conor McGregor, witty remarks and quips here and there about his former friend. That escalated pretty quickly though, as the multiple-time world champion issued a challenge to Lobov. This is a call out to Artem, the fanny fairy pad Lobov. I'm challenging you to a fight tonight, 10:30 p.m. I'll meet you down at SBG Concord and we'll fight for the whole lot. Having lawyers message me about defamation and all this suing and all, you're a little fairy, you're a little blouse mate, answer this call out, yeah, you little blouse? Never in our years as MMA fans did we ever think things would be like this between Artem and Conor. They had been friends for years before this, and their friendship looked unshakable. Now, McGregor is challenging Artem to street fights to settle their differences. Now, we understand that the way Conor phrases things is pretty hilarious at times, but this was a public threat to a man who we went to war for not too many years ago. Conor risked a lot when he attacked Khabib's camp in retaliation for their attack on Lobov. Moving on, what has Chael Sonnen said about it? Whenever something's happening in the MMA community, you can count on the undefeated Chael Sonnen to have an opinion on it. Chael commented on the whole situation after seeing Conor going off on Lobov over Twitter in the usual fashion. Chael advised Conor, saying that you cannot intimidate a witness. He made that point after Conor publicly called Artem out to a street fight. Chael said that there's no lawyer on the planet that would see this action as anything but a threat of both bodily harm and embarrassment. In Chael's words, if you intimidate a witness, you are going to have damages times 3. The UFC veteran implied that Artem could use that call-out in court to support his claim. The best piece of advice that Sonnen had for Conor was that he should stay very far away from Twitter. If you're Conor's lawyer right now, you're really hoping that he puts down Twitter. That is pretty solid advice, to be honest, given Conor is going through a court battle right now, and he's done nothing to make him look like the nice guy so far. We're sure no lawyer wants their client to be publicly threatening the man who's suing him for $30 million. Next up, what's the MMA community's reaction to all of this? As expected, a few notable UFC stars took notice of the whole thing and talked about it in one way or another, some in jest, and some spoke about the issue. Chael Sonnen was the most recent, but before that, Anthony Smith weighed in on the situation. Lionheart is a mainstay on Michael Bisping's podcast and spoke about the issue, saying that he had heard the same story from both men in the past. He said that Artem did indeed have a major part in helping start the company, and also came up with the idea for Irish whiskey, but at the same time sided with Conor. Smith said that Conor had offered Lobov money in the past, but Artem always refused. Lionheart said it was a sad thing to see in regards to two teammates and friends now suing each other. Smith didn't agree with Artem's move to come back after so long and demand more money when he was the one that was turning money down. Smith also kinda implied that it was dangerous for Conor to be beefing with a once trusted friend, someone who knows quite a lot about him. Michael Bisping didn't really have anything to add, apart from the fact that money is the root of all evil. He isn't called the Count for nothing. Nate Diaz was his witty self when everything was going down on Twitter. When the time came for the fight that Conor challenged Lobov to, Diaz tweeted, asking if Artem showed up. Classic Stockton. Coming up, Conor versus Artem Lobov in the UFC? Okay, we're gonna need you to stay with us for a little bit right now. We know this is a legal battle, and despite McGregor's street fight callouts, this will be settled in court. But if, hypothetically, we could get Artem Lobov versus Conor McGregor in the UFC, how would that look? We're glad you asked. We already know Conor McGregor is quite obviously the biggest draw in UFC history. Even after a long time away from the company and not the most successful couple of fights, Notorious remains the top dog. You can love him or hate him, you'll always watch him. This would be much more than just McGregor's hype though. Just think of the story here. Two mainstays of the sport that have spent years as teammates and great friends, caught up in a legal issue, decide to duke it out. How cool would that be? We're sure Dana White would be foaming at the mouth even just hearing a hypothetical. It would even be a great fight for McGregor because let's face it, the two aren't quite at the same level. Conor could maybe get out of his slump, but on the other side, no one truly knows in MMA. Artem could even beat him, which would be absolute pandemonium. This will probably never leave our imagination, but as a concept, what a fight that would be. Moving on, what's next for Conor McGregor? Legal battles and Twitter insults aside, Conor McGregor is still one of, if not the biggest, name in MMA even now. He's been taking a break from the sport following his ankle-breaking versus Dustin Poirier, but that break has been filled with controversy. Conor took himself out of the US ADA testing pool, causing a massive stir. It's definitely something only Conor McGregor can do because it's never happened before, nor would the UFC allow it. All that said, a lot of people have speculated that McGregor took himself out of the testing pools so he could take steroids while he heals from his injury completely. Many have noticed the insane bulk that McGregor has gone through over these past few months. He's gone from 155 to what looks like nearly 170 at least. His amazing physique right after healing from a broken bone so quickly has led to a lot of theories, especially when coupled with the fact that he isn't currently being tested anymore. Anthony Smith blasted McGregor, saying that it's unfair to other fighters for him to be able to do this, implying heavily that Conor is on steroids. He spoke with Michael Bisping about it at length. The Count added that if McGregor is currently on steroids, he's doing it in a completely legal way and he can't be penalized for it. We don't know when Conor is coming back to the octagon, but we'll wait for him to re-enter the testing pools as a sign. Finally, Conor blasts Artem for losing a minor lawsuit settlement. Artem and his teammate made a move to speed up the legal process in Ireland's commercial court, but it was denied. Mr. Lobov notes the judge's ruling and thanks him for his consideration of the application. Lobov's lawyer, Dermot McNamara, said of the judge's decision, he is now looking forward to his case progressing in the High Court Chancery list instead, and hopes the proceedings can be determined as soon as possible. Now, this means barely anything for the case entirely. Artem still has multiple avenues to take the case through. He just couldn't get the process sped up. This didn't faze Conor McGregor though, since he took it as the perfect opportunity to put his former teammate on blast yet again on Twitter. McGregor even asked for the court fees he was awarded by the judge awarded him. Conor then put up a statement that declared various Instagram messages where Artem had sworn to never ask for any money out of the Proper 12 brand. Lobov had allegedly even sworn on his children's life that he will not go back on his word. McGregor's team also filed a countersuit, claiming that Artem had only launched this lawsuit to create content for his own upcoming memoir. He obtained publicity for his forthcoming book, whilst at the same time trailing or hinting at the idea that there was substantially more to the story that would be revealed in due course, attorney Michael Stain said, acting on McGregor's behalf, adding that he felt it was clear Lobov was seeking to leverage what he considered to be a newsworthy controversy between him and McGregor in order to seek publicity for a forthcoming book. That's a wrap for today's video. So what do you think about everything that's going on between these two former friends? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. See you next time.